Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here. This is your dailysheeple.com daily news brief. Gotta love this campaign. It just keeps getting better and better. I was watching the old Trumpster last night, doing a campaign speech, I want to say down in Florida, and he was bringing up the emails again, and boy, oh boy, wouldn't you know it, Chairman Obama is now embroiled in this whole email scandal, as if we didn't know that he wasn't involved. Of course, everybody out there that has any sort of brain in their head knows that Obama is involved, especially when it comes to globalism, especially when it comes to being a puppet for the powers that shouldn't be. And the Daily Mail is reporting that, quote, "We need to clean this up," so says Clinton's staff, who knew Hillary had emailed Obama from her secret address. And now Trump says the president's caught up in the big lie. And that's what he said Tuesday. That new revelation from WikiLeaks established that President Obama's caught up in the big lie surrounding the secret server that held all of Hillary Clinton's emails while she was Secretary of State. Because, see, the president actually claimed that he had no knowledge whatsoever of Clinton's email server. Yeah. And, well, as it come to find out, he did. A WikiLeaks email chain published online hours earlier showed Clinton's senior aides knew Obama had received emails from the private address she used to conduct government business. The president, however, claims about its existence in news reports, because that's what he said. I learned about it from the journalist who broke the news. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Of course he didn't. He knew exactly what was going on. He knew. Here's the thing. He probably didn't think anything of it at the time, because these, believe it or not, folks, these puppets are morons. They really are. At the end of the day, they're morons, and they're only doing what their slave masters tell them to do, and in return, they get a cush lifestyle. It's almost the same as police. Now, I'm not saying that all police are bad, but I'm saying that when police are hired, they're hired intentionally. They pick the ones that are more psychologically like a drone, and don't have a lot of critical thinking skills, because they don't want people to question any commands or orders that they may be given. So you typically don't get the sharpest knife in the drawer, if you know what I'm saying. And this is no different. They want a good drone in there, and Chairman Obama is a good drone. You know, all of these people, there's millions of people each year that are persecuted, they're convicted on petty drug crimes. You got a druggie in the White House, let's be honest, okay? That's what he does. He smokes weed, his daughters smoke weed, and do other things, and that's not bad. Hey, good for them. But if you're going to do that, then take it off Schedule 1. Can we at least have that? Can we at least get some common sense? No, you're not going to get common sense. Why? Because he's a puppet. Because he does what Big Pharma tells him. He does what the lawyers tell him, the lawyer lobby. He does what all of the special interests tell him to do. And in return, who gets the bone? We get the bone. That's the way it works. And the New York Times is even reporting all this. So this is like, looks like Drudge is out in front, so we need to get in there and try and run smokescreen. New York Times doing the exact same thing. And I guess it was Cheryl Mills that said as soon as they found out, oh boy, we need to clean this up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she was talking to John Podesta. And this is all coming out from the WikiLeaks email. So isn't that just incredible and interesting that, you know, the leaks continue? We know the truth, folks. A lot of people out there know the truth. As a matter of fact, I just saw a video on YouTube, and it was citing a recent real number poll, and it was tied to the Clinton Global Initiative, and the real numbers were like 77% Trump, 19% Clinton, or something like. It was horrible. I mean, horribly skewed. And you have to wonder just how much tomfoolery are they going to be able to get away with without pissing people off. Oh, wait, there are going to be people pissed off no matter what happens. See, that's the scary thing about this selection, that worries me the most. That it doesn't matter who wins, because, and that's a big mistake. Everybody's like, oh, well, you know, if Trump wins, then we're going to correct this country. Oh, It ain't going to be that easy because you're going to have pissed off George Soros and pissed off globalists that are going to, they could do anything. They could throw the switch. They can implode the economy. I can almost guarantee you that if Trump gets in, they're going to push the button on the economy because why not? If they lose control of the system, first of all, they're not going to lose control of the system. They'll figure out some way to take back control, whether that's to pick up, whatever's left after the fire burns and all there's left is ashes. They'll fertilize a new garden with the ashes and they'll carry on smartly. That's the thing about revolution and about that type of change is that it's cyclical, meaning that, okay, let's just say it's 1776 again, right? Which it'll never be 1776 again. But let's just say we get a 21st century version of that. You start over again, and the control freaks who have already hedged their bets and have their shelters and have their contingency plans will just stay holed up for a while, for no matter how long it takes, and then they'll come back and they'll start doing it all over again. Just like there's going to be other people that may come to power, and as soon as they get a taste of money and power, instant corruption, and we're right back where we started again. If you look back through history, cyclical things, it happens all the time. It starts over again, and tyranny ends up being the end product until the peasantry gets pissed off enough, and they get out their pitchforks and their torches, and they tear it all down, and then they go, oh, that was good. Phew, that was great. And they go back to sleep. Because it's hard. It's hard to maintain that fight constantly, all the time. It's hard. And they know this. So that's why I've always said it's so critically important that we step outside that cycle and find a different solution to our problems. That's the biggest thing that we have to do. Look, you don't have to have a violent revolution. Well, all we got to do is not participate. Think about it for a second. What if, and this is a big what if, all of a sudden people woke up and they had this kumbaya moment where they all said, you know what? I'm going to take my income tax and I'm going to put it in an escrow account because the government is not representing my interests. They're not representing the interest of the common man, of the American people. It's a government out of control. It's a government that is just totally and completely corrupt. And until you come correct, government, I'm going to put my tax money in this escrow account, which will bear interest, and it's there for you. All you got to do is do what the Constitution says. Do what your mandate is. Okay? If you can do that, here it is, waiting for you. Now, you get enough people to do that, and you hit them in the wallet, just like government or police. What do they do when you run into trouble with them? Trouble. Big quotation marks, trouble. What happens? They hit you in the wallet. Civil asset forfeiture. Taxation by citation. Because they know that when you get hit in the wallet, chances are you won't be doing the same thing again because you can't afford that hit. So, what's the best way to hit the powers that shouldn't be? To hit a corrupt government? Hit them in the wallet. Hold back your taxes. That's not to say you're not paying them. Hey, I'm paying them. They're in this account right here. You just have to do your job. Do what you're mandated to do. Follow the law of the land, which is the Constitution. If you could just do that, here's your money, waiting right here for you. You get enough people behind it and push it, and you can affect real change. Now, do you want to have a broken system? I don't. I think that there has to be a change in ideology. I don't know what the answer is. Is it that Star Trek type of scenario? Then everybody starts yelling communism and everything like that, I don't know what the answer is. But I do know that the best way to make change and the most effective way to make change is to hit them where it hurts. And that's in the wallet. And if you can do that, they'll start listening. Now, speaking of getting hit in the wallet, Obamacare is failing miserably. And just as planned, of course, we found that in the WikiLeaks documents, that this was the plan all along, that they were going to implode Obamacare to bring in their single-payer system. Check out HR 676. And that's the Medicare for All Act, I think it's called. Lily Dane of ourdailysheeple.com says it's almost that time again. Yes, the Department of Health and Human Services released a research brief yesterday titled Health Plan Choice and Premiums in 2017's Health Insurance Marketplace. Hoorah! Is it high quality? Affordable? Yeah, about that. Lilly reports health insurance premiums are going to go up by an average of 25% in 2017 across the 39 states that are served by the federally run online market. Some states will see an even bigger increase. The entire report makes no mention whatsoever of deductibles or out-of-pocket expenses. You know why? I think we can kind of figure out why that is. Now, not only does the government report avoid discussion of those costs entirely, and it's very difficult to find information on how much deductibles and out-of-pocket costs like copays are anywhere. That's huge. I mean, healthcare is just one way that they use to kick in the coolions. And they're going to keep on doing it until, like I said, change comes through the wallet. So they're going to keep pounding you away till people get pissed off. And then they're going to have their solution all ready to go. Hey, wait a minute. Here's your Medicare for All Act. Everybody, free health care, free dental, free vision. And look, all we're going to do is we're going to tax Wall Street. And they're going to highlight that because that's part of the plan. But they don't tell you the rest. It hits everybody because you can't fund health care for all without sweeping taxes across the board. And if I remember right, the Trumpster is for a single-payer healthcare system. So just be careful about that. Even Aetna's CEO, according to Bloomberg.com, says young people will pick weekend beer over Obamacare. Yeah, probably so. Probably so. You know why? Because they can't afford both anymore. Used to be that you could afford healthcare and your Friday and Saturday beer money. Right? Now you can't. So now they have to choose. Well, I'm not going to get sick. Why the hell not? You don't pay the penalty unless you're getting a tax refund. So if you're not getting a tax refund, you owe taxes. It doesn't just, you don't pay more taxes. You know, it's kind of an easy decision. Go for the beer. Of course. And what does that do? Oh, it pushes premiums up even more. Hence, boy, we really need that single payer system. So, I mean, this is all the things that they're putting in place right now. The Fed, according to Zero Hedge, is even in on this. They're literally broadcasting that it's going to let inflation just run wild. Woo! I mean, anybody old enough to remember the 1980s, late 70s, 1980s. I remember, hey, it's the Toyota-thon event with 24.9% interest. Woo! And that was a party. They had balloons everywhere and everything. All right, 25% interest. I mean, that was good. It's coming again. Zero Hedge. The biggest moves, the one that makes the most money in the markets are the ones no one's talking about for months. He says, with that in mind, you need to know that the Fed is going to let inflation run wild in the U.S. This is not a hypothesis. In the last month, they had 3 different Fed officials say that they want inflation and that the Fed will let it run beyond the Fed's target 2% rate. Simple statistic. The dollar is worth 2% of what it was worth in 1913. 2%. I mean, they have totally and completely destroyed the dollar. And now it's time to put the death nail in it. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Look, one way or another, they're not going to cede control. And they're going to bring you to your knees. And the only way they can bring you to your knees in the United States, again, has to be through your wallet. I mean, unless they're going to do some sort of bio attack and kill a bunch of people, but that's going to be kind of overt. And, you know, there's just so many different ways they can go about it. But the easiest one with the littlest trace, to me, would end up being an economic collapse because everything's in place. And what better way to kick Trump in the stones? Here you go. You won the presidency. Not to mention the fact, they've been pushing this EMP stuff, solar flare, coronal mass ejection. Power grid could go down at any time. That's why it's so important that you prepare yourself for stuff like that. ReadyNutrition.com has a great piece by Ryan Bannister, just came out. 4 critical components to getting prepped for a blackout. Step 1, energy conservation measures. And I've always said this. This is something that you can do. I used to teach at a homeschool co-op. And one of the things that we used to teach, of course, is prepping. And the best way to do that is get your family together, sit them down on the couch or in the living room or someplace, kill all the breakers in the house, and then start taking notes. What just happened? What is affected? How does it affect us? What do we need to do? And then start making a list. And then figure out, okay, well, do I have a generator? What can I run with a generator? Do I have solar power? What can I run with solar power? Start having like a power usage plan. It's very simple and easy to do. They make a device called a kilowatt. I think Black & Decker makes it. But you take it, plug it in the wall, plug your appliance in, and it'll tell you how much power that appliance is consuming. And you write it down. You need to know how many watts, how much power each appliance draws, so that if you have alternative power, you know what it's drawing, when, and how. Very simple. You can store and prepare food off grid. Store it. Prepare it. Learn how to smoke your food. Build a big fire pit if you can. Or have a portable fire pit on hot standby. Maybe a dual burner type of camp stove. Something like that, but be able to do that with storable food. A great way to do it on the cheap, beans. Bag of beans, $1 a pound? Just start buying a bag of beans every time you go to the store. Get a grain mill. A manual grain mill costs about, I think, $40 on Amazon. That way you can grind and make your own flour. You can do it with beans. Bean bread. Yum, 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 yum. I mean, you can do it with all sorts of stuff, but this is just easy to do. Alternate power sources. Of course, I said solar, generator. You also have wind power. You can do battery backup. If, some people have hooked up an alternator to a bicycle so you can pedal it. A lot of different ways to do it. And finally, the 4th is survival gear. They say, this type of emergency is one of the many reasons to have emergency supplies. Make sure to have at least 3 different ways to make a fire, like a magnesium and steel fire starter, matches, butane lighters, lanterns, great light source. Also, those little yard lamps that you stick in the ground, you can get for $1 or $2 at Walmart, or get them online. Stick them out there during the day. Bring them in at night. You got cheap lamps. How about a crank radio, something that you can listen to? These are things that you have to consider. This is the stuff that they're pushing. Now that whatever event, and I know we're ripe for one, will probably be nothing that I'm talking about. It'll be something totally out of left field. But when it happens, you want to be prepared. And that ReadyNutrition.com is a great site, by the way, to check it out. They've got a lot of great resources for you to check out and some great information that you can print out, make a binder for yourself, and do what you have to do to be able to make the best decisions for yourself and your family, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I'm Joe Joseph. This was your DailySheeple.com Daily News Brief. Check us out at thedailysheeple.com and subscribe to this YouTube channel, The Daily Sheeple. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.